Hello, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Elizabeth Mayne with Mayne Design. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Erin?
I'm great. I'm so glad that you took time to talk with me today. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, something really cool about Beth or Elizabeth, I call her Beth, is that she is just coming up on her 20th anniversary of being business owner for her own design business. So, I'm really excited to talk with her about what she does and what makes her different. So let's just jump right into first, like, tell me how you got into graphic design and why you get so excited about it.
Sure. Well, to be honest, when I was a kid, I was always pretty creative. And one of the things I used to do was write poems for my family members at like birthday parties and stuff. And so it was always like this big thing that I was going to present this poem or this designed with it. And so that was cool. And that was just a hobby. And then I went to school for psychology of all things, but I ended up working at a title company down in Minneapolis. And I was at the reception desk, the greeter and that kind of thing. And so my boss asked me to make a poster for a company picnic. And so
Okay.
I, of course, created something pretty cool. And she said, "Oh my God, that is so good. You should do that for a living." And it was like this light bulb moment. I'm like, I should do this for a living. And so I ended up going back to school for graphic design, and that was it. And so I started my own business in 2004 after I was pregnant with my third baby at that point. So Mayne Design became my fourth baby, and the rest is history.
Isn't that funny? You and I have that in common just because, I mean, I started as a receptionist at a mortgage company and who
Oh,
knew
yeah.
that I was going to end up exactly, I just thought it was just going to be a job. And then all of a sudden I ended up in what's the perfect career for me.
Yes.
So you have a little bit of a different take on how you help clients with their branding, because I know that's what you're really passionate about. So tell me what makes you different in that regard, and let's talk about the process that you take people through.
Sure. Well, I love consistency in branding. And so a brand usually starts with a logo, and you're going to have a brand whether you cultivated it or not. And so I really like to take businesses, and it's usually a smaller company, a small professional firm maybe, through the branding process to make sure that their design and their brand truly reflects what they're putting out there. And so a lot of times it's a brand new brand, or maybe it's a rebrand because they have been in business for a couple of years now, and they're like, you know what I'm doing just isn't cutting it. I need some professional help. And that's where I come in. So the first thing I like to do is really meet with the client and find out what makes them tick and why they're excited about their business, because an entrepreneur is excited about their business or they wouldn't have done it.
Right.
And so we go through and we kind of decide who the target market is and make sure that their logo is talking to their target market. And so it's really a fun process.
Well, and I think that there's a lot of business owners, especially when they're new in business, that will like go on to some online software and just make like a free
Gosh.
logo for their business, which is
Yes.
great place to start, right? If you aren't in a place where you really know what you want to do or what's going to represent me, like I have to have a logo. But then once your business starts to grow and flourish, you start to realize like you need something that's a lot more recognizable and reflects your values.
Yes, and the other thing about when you do something online, you don't get the files you need to do the rest of the brand. And so, as we were talking about earlier, I'm very much into consistency and branding and making sure everything follows through. So that if someone has a fantastic website that really reflects their vision, and then they have a horrible business card, for example, or their social media is just off, then it just shows their clients that they're not really in it. And so I really like to take them through the whole process to make sure everything is consistent and professional, and it's a good overall feeling.
Right. Well, and so once you meet with people, like where do you go from there?
Sure. So once we have the logo, and so that's a process in itself. Usually I come up with a few concepts, and then we together kind of whittle it down to the perfect logo. And that's a fun process because you can see the excitement in their eyes as we get closer and closer to that logo. And then I often create a branding sheet so they'll know what fonts, what voice, what colors they can use consistently through the rest of their marketing. And then often people will hire me to do the next step, which might be letterhead and print media, print marketing. And so I'm a print broker, and so I can design and get printed almost anything. The sky is almost the limit there. And then we also incorporate it into their social media to make sure their, Facebook and LinkedIn profiles all match and are consistent. And then we get into sometimes digital content, or, digital ads, or even email marketing. And I love working with people to build an email template that they can take and run with, and they can, keep it up. Or I have clients too that are like, no, I just, here's some content, put out an email for me. So I really love seeing the entire picture, and it's really fun to do that. But sometimes, and the other great thing about my company is it's just me, but I have a wonderful network of professional people that can help me if I don't. I know a writer and a very high-end website designer. I will do an informational website for people, like a 5-page site that's very professional and consistent, and has all their information. But I do know people that can do all those fancy bells and whistles in my network. And
Right.
and it's all about connecting others, even in the storytelling of a website and a brand. It's all about pulling at those heartstrings and making sure that your clients are, you know, you're in it and they know it.
Yeah.
You're going to be there for them. And professional branding really has a lot to do with that trust. And so
Yeah.
that's why I love it.
And speaking to your client, and so that they can recognize themselves in the interaction,
Yes.
whether it's
Yes.
online, whether it's in your communications and so on. But that's something I also love, is we don't have to be experts at everything. We don't have to be able to do everything, right? But we have to be able to have the resources to take care of our clients if it's something outside of our sphere.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's why I'm so thankful that you were able to do this video with me today. And I'm excited to see if I can help other people in the in your sphere too.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you are obviously so very excited. Like, people wonder why I get so excited about mortgages, because people think it's really boring. And
yeah.
I would say the same thing. Like, right, for me, branding is super boring, like not something I'm excited about. But I know you're really excited about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if people want to get a hold of you, how do they reach out and connect with you?
Sure. Well, they could scan this QR code that's on my screen here, and that will get them all of my links. But the easiest way is to go to my website, which is Mayne.design. And so just like it's spelled, Mayne.design. And they can contact me there. They can see my services and my work and get an idea of what I'm like. You can read my bio about my dogs and and that fun stuff. But that's a great place to start. And I offer a free hour consultation to anyone, if they just want some ideas about, this is what I'm doing now. What do you suggest?
Mhm.
And that's a really great place to start to learn, you know, could it be improved? Maybe it's perfect. Maybe they don't need me at all.
Right.
But a lot of times there's little things that you can do just to make sure that everyone knows who you are and what you do. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So I definitely encourage anybody who's watching this, if you have any need for branding, for graphic design, just want a second set of eyes to look at what you're doing now, Beth is a great resource for that. So I highly recommend reaching out to her. Beth, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. Really appreciate it.
thank you, Erin. I really enjoyed this. Thanks so much.
Thank you.